Michelle Rojas is the shlicha for the Jewish Agency for Israel, Jaffe. She is the shlicha for all Hillels across the United States. Jewish Federations is very proud of our partnership with the Jewish Agency because the Shlichim program, the ability to give face to Israel and people to learn about Israel from Israelis directly, is one of the most important pieces of this generational conversation. Michelle, it's an honor to be able to call you up to stage, and welcome to this conversation.
Hi, everyone. So I'll make you two promises. I will speak faster than the amount of time it took me to get across this stage, and I promise I won't be delivering my baby here. So let's just start off on that point. I know everyone's excited about that. I'm sure there's a doctor in the room, but I have no plans for that, so thank you very much. So indeed, it was so exciting to hear the student activists, and I have to tell you, as a former student activist myself, and someone who also had my start that way, it is always refreshing and comforting and inspiring to hear from students and to know that that is still going strong. This is my last official day of work, thank God, because I am out of breath. And there is no more important gathering. I spoke to Eric a few days ago, and he said, "Are you sure?" And I said, "I have to be there." The same way that I chose to be at the DC rally at 95 degrees 10 days ago with my two children as we rallied against hate so proudly here in our nation's capital. As director of the Jewish Agency's Israel Fellows Program, I have the distinct honor and privilege to lead what will this year, back again, be 70 young, dynamic, diverse Israelis as they live and breathe on college campuses across North America. This program would not be possible since its inception back in 2003 without the support of Jewish Federations and with our incredible partners at Hillel International. The reason why it works is because the Israelis that are coming here are here day in and day out with their Jewish counterparts on college campuses, not just fighting back and combating anti-Semitism, but using their identity, taking that same identity politics that we're dealing with, and in the most positive way, sharing the story of who Israel is, who the Jewish people are, and celebrating it. Our oyes have to be even louder than our oives. And we have to remember that as a community. Students want something that they can connect to, that they can be a part of, and especially if we look at the average Jewish student today, their first opportunity to live and breathe their Jewish identity and their connection to Israel happens on college campus. I know that from personal experience. My last name, Rojas, if you couldn't tell, I too am a hybrid Jew, the daughter of a Hispanic father and a Jewish mother, and my first opportunity to meet Israel, to get to know Israel, to really dig deep into my Jewish identity was when I reached college campus, was when I was able to go to my first Hillel meeting. And if not for that moment, if not for those simple conversations of someone trying to engage me in a Jewish life, I don't know what road I would have been on today. The Jewish Agency Israel Fellows understand that students are being asked to choose between their personal politics and ideologies and their love and their affection and their desire to stand up as proud Jews and as Zionists on college campuses. We will not allow them to have to make that choice. On the contrary, as we say in Hebrew, ההפך, we're going to do the exact opposite. We're going to show them by the very essence of who they are as Jews, who we are as a people through our most recent history and even farther back, that this is the place for them to be, that this is the place that they have not only every right, but every platform to share who they are proudly. And we are so honored that we have the support and the partnership of federations in order to be doing that. Whether it's a Vezu through her beautiful Ethiopian Israeli identity at Temple Hillel in Philly, or Nivek Cohen at UCLA, Eliol at UC Santa Cruz, who in his identity as a proud Mizrahi gay Jew is out there ensuring that progressive students understand that there is no conflict between being a Zionist and being a proud person who can continue to identify the same way as they would in any other forum. We will not allow Jewish students to be forced to check their identities at the door, and we must remember that. Most recently, as I shared with you all, and with this thought, I will finish. I had to make this decision to attend this DC rally. Everyone is in Israel, minus me. I'm unable to travel right now. It's been almost 2 years since my husband and myself and my 2 daughters, and this little guy, please God, who's due next week, we're able to go home. And that's a really big deal. It's very painful. We miss home tremendously. And so being at the DC rally, it was the closest thing that I was going to get to kind of feeling back in Israel, seeing waves of Israeli flags and people sweating from ear to ear. That was a less attractive sight. It was hot and it was miserable. And it was probably the last place on earth that I needed to be. And the night before the rally, I said to my 8-year-old daughter, Yahel, I said, Yahel, we're going to go to this rally tomorrow, and it's really important. And she said, why? And Darryl reminded me of this story when his parents had that conversation with him when he was 10 years old. And I said, we're going to a rally because we want to show people that we're proud of being Jewish, because there's some people right now who are making life kind of tough for Jewish people. And she said to me, all right, cool, I get to make a poster. And there she was getting out her markers, and I said, what do you want to write on your poster? And she wrote, we are Jewish and proud, with no instigation from me. Not, please love us, don't hate us, we are proud. And there was something in that moment, it's like, there's this, once upon a time, my grandmother said to me, you can learn so much from children. And in that moment, it was such a moment of learning for me as a parent. She didn't sit there and say, why do they hate us? Why do they dislike us? What are we going to do? What a shanda. That my grandmother would have said. What she said to me is, I'm proud of being Jewish. And there she sat with 2 of her girlfriends who also showed up from the Charles E. Smith Jewish Day School in Rockville. And they stood there, these 8-year-old girls, on a Sunday in the middle of July, holding up these signs. And at that moment, all of my worlds collided. Being a professional who has given the last nearly 2 decades of my life to this cause, since I was a college student myself, to leading the Jewish Agency for Israel Fellows in their work day in and day out, tireless efforts to bring Israel to campus in the most genuine and beautiful ways, this 8-year-old child and her 5-year-old sister, the descendants on one side of Babylonian Jewry of 2,000 years in Iraq, and on the other side, 100 members of their family who were wiped out during the Holocaust. They have a voice, and nothing will take their voice away from them, and that has to be the message we are bringing to our young people today. As hard as we are fighting against anti-Semitism and anti-Israel hate, we need to be doubling down on our Jewish pride, our Jewish celebration, and I thank you all from the bottom of my heart for the work that you do each and every day to make sure that we have a platform to make that happen. Toda rabah.